עולמים, ויצרו בצרור חיים את נשמותיהם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, בגן עדן תהיה מנוחתם, ויעמדו לגורלם לקץ הימין, ונאמר אמן.
Thank you, אלון. תודה. אני מזמינה את מיכל דיבון. I invite Michal Devon, reporter, journalist, and an anchor at News 12 in New York, and Shahar Azran to share with us their project.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Thank you for hosting this event. I know it seems like we're all very isolated, but I also feel like we're all very much together these days. I'll just introduce Shahar, who I'm very happy I can also call my friend. He's a photographer. He has a distinguished international career, has covered political events, entertainment, professional sports, everything in between. And he also visited Auschwitz over 20 times with various organizations, including the FIDF, the World Jewish Congress, Chelsea Football Club. And so it's really a pleasure to be here and to be able to hear your stories through the really unique pictures and moments that you were able to capture. So we will conduct this in Hebrew and in English upon Shahar's request. And Shahar, I know you've been to Poland many, many times. So why don't we start with a story that you would like to share with us? בעברית אם אתה רוצה. מכל הביקורים, מה החלק הכי משמעותי?
So, first, thank you so much, Reut. Thank you so much, Alon. And of course, thank you so much, Toby, for being with us this evening. First, I would like to talk about the place. My first visit in Auschwitz was about 15 years ago when I went with the FIDF. Krakow is a beautiful place. And the first day before we actually traveled to Auschwitz, I actually liked the place. And then slowly you understand that, and I'm talking about the Polish government, the place is a touristic place. The place, you have tours to Schindler's factory, you have tour to Auschwitz, you have restaurant. It's become like really a touristic place. So really what's making the place is the people, and of course we are the lucky ones who can still travel with the survivors. So I really want to open with this a short story. My hero is Asher Ud. Asher Ud, he was born in 1928, and in 1940, when the German occupied Poland, they came to his village. Shortly, they killed his father, his mother, and his youngest brother, Gabriel. At the age of 11, he found himself by himself with his older brother that they took him away, and he stayed by himself. They took him to a large concentration camp, and following that, they went to Auschwitz in 1944. Over here in this photo, this is his block where he spent his time with 1,200 kids in this very same block. And if there is a bright side in all the story, that this is the place when he found his older brother, Beryl. Beryl took care of him, Beryl fed him, Beryl saved him twice from the gas chamber. And in 1945, after surviving the March of the Death, of course, it was it was liberated and moved to Israel. He stayed in Jerusalem all his life. He loved Jerusalem, and he devoted his life to the memory of the Holocaust. He traveled endless time to Auschwitz with soldiers, with students, and again, this is with the FIDF mission in the beginning of the 2010. And during his last visit, I think it was 2014, 15, he traveled with his grandson. This is his grandson, Nadav. And Nadav actually told me, actually today, I posted those images, and he wrote to me that he remembered that his grandfather, on each and every speech that he gave, he finished with Am Yisrael Chai. And unfortunately, he passed in 2016, and I'm going to miss him dearly.
Shahar, you're capturing these really powerful moments and stories. I guess I'm wondering, how are you able to really fully connect to the story when you're focusing on capturing the perfect moment, like the one we're seeing right here?
Again, we're talking about, it's all about the people. It's all about the people who travel with us. It's all about the survivor, that we are the lucky one, that we can still see them. We're so lucky to have Toby with us tonight. We're so lucky to stand with, and to see them walking with Israeli soldiers. You see, you see pilots, you see the head of the Israeli army walking with them in Auschwitz. For me, this is what made our story. But as a photographer, and especially as Israeli, most of us served in the Israeli army. We see soldiers in Israel. That's pretty, simple for us. But to see those, like the survivors with their stories, to listen to them, to see, this is Brunia and Martin Brunia. And I remember Brunia's telling us, we were riding, by the way, if you're a Holocaust survivor, one of the benefits that you get from the great Polish government, you're getting a free golf cart in Auschwitz. This is something that, it's crazy, but I remember she's telling Martha that she remembered the place as a huge place. It looked very small to her right now. And Martha told her that, of course it's small, because back then we couldn't even walk to the fence. It looked so far. We were so weak, we couldn't even walk. And for me to sit over there and listen to those stories, it's priceless. We are the lucky one. And what amazed me also with different survivors is, for example, this gentleman, I remember him walking under the gate. He was cursing. And this is his first visit. This is in 2015, during the 70th anniversary of liberation of Auschwitz. He was walking and cursing, and then he started to cry. We were really about 30 people around him. Everybody left him alone, like really, for, I think it was about really 10 minutes that he was standing over there. Really, each survivor take it to a different place. This is from last January, like 3 months ago. This is Dr. Paldiel, and he was working for Yad Vashem for over 20 years. He was in charge of the bridges among the nations in Yad Vashem for over 20 years. So each survivor take it differently.
Shahar, I know that you see Poland as not being the story. Poland is the vehicle to continue sharing the story. However, I also believe, I'm sure you'll agree with me, that it's very different to visit during the summer and during the very extremely cold winters. Can you tell us about that?
We spoke about it earlier, about visiting Auschwitz in the summer. When you visit Auschwitz in the summer, you listen to the story, but it's a whole different experience, really. It's a whole different emotional experience. We're listening to the story, but I don't think that we feel it the same. We don't feel the place the same. As soon as you visit this place during the winter, this is a part where you cannot even imagine this place. You feel every step when you walk through the camp. You're trying to understand, but no one can understand. You're trying to imagine, you cannot imagine. And I remember in one of our last visits to Auschwitz with FIDF, it was started like pouring over there. And there were like discussing, should we cancel the march? We shouldn't. And then I remember the commander was standing over there. He said, like, are you serious? Can we complain about the rain? Can we complain about the weather? And we found ourselves for 3 hours marching in the camp, and we felt it. It was a whole different, really a whole different experience to walk in the snow versus traveling to Auschwitz during the summer.
And it's honestly impossible to imagine doing that without coats, because even with coats, I know you were telling me that you were all shivering. Let's talk about keeping the memory alive, passing it on. We know that a lot of people and organizations, and us as a Jewish people, are really struggling with these days, because at some point we will not have a firsthand storyteller. Can you tell me and tell us how you see it as being the person capturing the stories behind the camera?
Two major events in the last 5-6 years. This is a photograph of Steven Spielberg in 2015, 70th anniversary of liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau. And he, together with World Jewish Congress President Ron Loder, brought over 300 survivors to Auschwitz. They were sitting for hours in front of world leaders and telling their stories. This is from 2015 again. You see President Hollande from France and the Polish president. And 5 years later, which is January 2020, they brought about 200 survivors. They brought 200 survivors. And I have to say it was a bit different from the event that we had in Yad Vashem in Israel. The only two people who spoke over here, this is the Polish president, Duda, and Ron Loder spoke. And for 3.5 hours, we had survivors speaking and addressing those leaders. And you had, from Israel, we had President Rivlin, but you had a Ukraine president, you had England sent official, every country, okay, from the Prime Minister of Germany was there. Every country sent their leader. And it was so important to talk about it, and especially today with all the anti-Semitism, you know, and I can tell you that they weren't comfortable over there. And for 3.5 hours, over 200 million viewers watch live this broadcast. And of course, from New York, we had our, now we have, to mention our great governor, of course. He spent about 3 days with them in Auschwitz as well.
Shahar, you've captured the most intimate moments. You've captured Holocaust survivors who are visiting Auschwitz for the first time, sometimes with their families. You're seeing children and grandchildren. Maybe share some of the challenges in capturing such an intimate and powerful moment.
So again, we go back to the fact that most of us serve.
We have 2 minutes. Okay, I'm sorry. We just
no problem. So we'll do it pretty quick. So I'll show you a few images, and I'll tell you that for me as a photographer, it's really hard to decide if should I pick the camera or not, photographing my friend, thinking about his grandfather, or to be in front of his face, the soldier. This is a very intimate moment for him, and for me as a photographer, it's pretty hard to make a decision, should I take this picture or not. But I understand the value of those images. Over here, we see survivor, Mr. Greenberg from Philadelphia. We just walked between the fence, and he just like picked his sleeves up and he showed his number. And we have actually kind of happy moment, like when he had such a great time with the soldiers, and this is for me a priceless moment of him being there with an Israeli pilot.
All right, so Shahar, since we have to push forward, let's jump maybe to, and you can show us maybe pictures on the way, but I'd love for you to tell me about a significant experience and then show us one final picture that summarizes your entire experience filming and shooting all these years in Auschwitz.
Okay, that picture was taken in December. This is Angela Merkel, the chancellor, the German chancellor, first visit to Auschwitz. And you know, few times in my life, I felt when I took a picture. And I felt it when I took the peace signing photo with Rabin, Clinton, and King Hussein in the White House. I felt it as a photographer. And this is another moment when I saw her walking. She donated $60 million that day to the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum. So for me, it was a very, very special moment to be with the chancellor. This is again, she spoke to the survivor, she spoke to the press, and it was a significant moment for me. The last photo that I'll show you is a photo of the survivor. I was walking and I saw, this is the Israeli, the head of the submarines in Israel. He was walking, he saw Gita, and he saluted her. And for me to see her eyes, and we have no idea what she's thinking at that moment, but I know that at this very same moment, I felt his commitment. He knew that he's doing the right thing, that he's serving Israel, and we all felt this moment. So I'm sorry it's short, but we're all looking forward to your Toby, I think. Thank you so much.
Shahar, thanks so much. And yeah, I agree. We are so looking forward to hearing from Toby. Toda rabba, Reut, back to you.
Toda, Reut.
תודה שחר ותודה מיכל.
I'll share my screen.
Thank you.